When I asked the class of 2022 to describe what they were looking for in a commencement speaker, they said, we want somebody who's inspirational, who's fun, somebody who's relatable. And I am delighted that we have somebody just like that, the multi-hyphenated. Ooh, what? I know, that's fancy, isn't it? Tiffany Norwood is our speaker today. And Tiffany Norwood is a successful Black woman entrepreneur and recently was named by Cornell University, an alma mater we share, as the Entrepreneur of the Year, the first Black woman ever to be awarded that in the 40-year history. And I'm just going to give a few highlights because we just want to hear from her, but I want to tell you a couple other things about her. She became a CEO while a junior at Cornell University. A lot of you in this class, you know what it's like to be an entrepreneur as an undergrad. And by the age of 24, she had licensed her first software code for a multi-billion-dollar bank merger. What, right? In 2020, she published her first book, Vote Like a Boss, an entrepreneur's perspective on innovation, leadership, creativity, storytelling, and voting. And Bennett bells are what? Voting bells. So we know we feel a kindred spirit here. The other thing that I think is important for you to know, really, is that she is the cousin of a Bennett Bell. Where's our cousin? Hey, Erica Cunningham, class of 1993. So I am delighted. I could go on and on, but really we just want to hear from Tiffany. I am delighted that you were able to join us. Welcome, cousin, welcome home. Ladies and gentlemen, Tiffany Norwood.
Thank you, Bennett Bells. Thank you, Dr. Walsh, and the trustees, and all the teachers, and the alums, the golden year. I love that, my cousin Erica. And of course, our special guests, the graduates of today. When it was announced that I was Entrepreneur of the Year at Cornell University, and I'm the first for Cornell, but also the first for any of the Ivy Leagues, I declared, even on stage at my award ceremony, that one of the things I wanted to do at this platform was be a bridge between the HBCUs and the Ivy Leagues. Because although I went to Cornell and other schools, my mom, my dad, my cousins, my aunt, my uncles all went to HBCUs. I am also a product of that community. And I know that there is so much to be learned on both sides. And that is why I'm here today. It's a great, great honor to be here today. I will say, I'm glad it rained. I'm glad it rained because it is a metaphor for the journey that you're about to face. As I was walking over here and saw the chairs set up outside and my hair was ever expanding in the humidity, I was like, this is perfect. It's perfect for a couple of reasons. One, no matter if it's rainy or cloudy, whether you're outside or inside, keep your eye on the prize. You will graduate today, and you will leave with a diploma, right? What no one told me this clearly is that these early years of your life, the first 20 or so, are about a couple of things. One, being clear on what your dreams are. Two, learning how to learn. It actually doesn't matter the degree or the subject. Getting the foundation that you got at Bennett College, you can take everywhere. And with your protocol for learning, you can pick up the new subjects, the new skills, the new mindsets that you need. And third, one of the most important things in your first 20 or so years, one of your primary purposes is learning to parent yourself. the self-control, the self-determination, the centeredness of seeing it raining and pivoting to the inside, and still being grateful because your family and friends are here and you are going to leave with a diploma. I can tell you one of the greatest joys and pleasure of my life has been a Black woman born in the civil rights era, 1960s United States, and living a life of self-determination and being self-made and being a servant leader. It's a great pleasure to be self-determined because no one's going to save you. You know, no one's going to drive the car of your life. You could find the best spouse and the best partner in the world, and they can be supportive, but at the end of the day, it's up to you to make the life that you want. The second reason, while I was really happy that it rained today, was that who has the opportunity to have their commencement ceremony in a church? I was practically skipping over here because my story of startups and frontier technology and leadership, my story was not possible without God. And we're not just in any church. We're in the church where in 1958, Martin Luther King stood up here and told us his vision. Because your president, the first female president of any U.S. college, was one of his first believers and supporters. Black women are always changing the world and making it a better place. Yes, yes, Black woman. I said Black woman. This is why I wanted Bennett College to be my first ever commencement speech, because I wanted to speak specifically Black woman to Black woman. That's really important for me today. So the men in the back, and I apologize up front. Because this is for the bells, this speech. And you are ready right now. As Dr. Walsh mentioned, I started my first company at 19. I was CEO. I filed for a patent then. I had it by the time I was 22, before I even licensed my first software code. And that was a long time ago. And I was not nearly as cool as you all are, right? I was very awkward and geeky, and I still have a bit of that here with me today. There's no need to wait. You can start right now, like I did. It's all a practice. You'll never be fully ready. I've met people that have been successful from all walks of life, from starting from nowhere in a hut, literally somewhere in the world, having no money, no running water, to world leaders, CEOs, and billionaires. I've even dated a few. What I've never met is an immortal. Life is not the time to wait, ladies. You can do that on the other side. And you have an unfair advantage because you were born with Black girl magic. So when I talk about billionaires, I'm also talking about you. And I'm not talking about dollars or pesos or euros or British pounds even. Nothing you can touch or see, yet you can spend it still the same, like I did. All you need to do is believe in the power of one small word, we. I'll tell you my story. I was born in 1968, and at the time, and the Golden Class knows this, the world, sort of like today, was falling apart. Martin Luther King was fighting for civil rights, Nelson Mandela against apartheid, Gloria Steinem, women's rights. The US was in Vietnam. Everyone around me seemed to be fighting. But instead of fighting, as a young girl, I was dreaming of traveling the world, dreaming of inventing, dreaming of starting companies. My phoenix was rising. Most people around me, including some family members, told me that my dreams were fantasy, especially as a young black girl in the 1970s. But I knew that my dreams matter, and I wanted to come here today personally to tell you that your dreams matter. God did not give you this life just to survive. Seriously. I knew that they were that they didn't just matter, that they were possible because of my beliefs. Because your beliefs have creative power. And here are my beliefs as a kid and as an adult. First, I believe that we are all connected in this world through God. Could I do it alone? No. Could we do it together? Yes. Second, I believe in the currency of faith. And I spent faith vigilantly by telling everyone and anyone the story of my dreams. I knew my believers existed somewhere in this world. I just had to find them. And yes, I needed a lot of miracles, and they came in the form of other people showing up. At the right moment, in the right way, as mentors and investors and co-founders and supporters. We made me the success that I am today. And they will show up for you. Just take that leap of faith. Forgive me, but I got my degrees from Cornell and Harvard. And at the time, to matriculate, because I really wanted to be an engineer, to matriculate in 1985 as a black woman in the College of Engineering, computer science major, when in 1970 I started that journey, teaching myself to code out of a book with paper and pencil before I even got my Commodore 64. And I know the Golden Class knows how hot the Commodore 64 was. I didn't wait. I didn't let anything stand in my way. I co-founded 8 startups with the power of the we. From the first one-strap backpack in college, to digital satellite radio, to a healthcare clinic in Ethiopia that's treated 15,000 patients, to an ed tech company, and one of the first esports virtual reality gaming platforms in the metaverse today. We've been in stealth mode for 6 years, and we finally came out at the Super Bowl this February. And we'll launch the platform before the end of the year. I did get a chance to travel the world. I've been now to 54 countries, predominantly as an entrepreneur. All my startups were global, even the one in college. Don't keep yourself in a box. The world needs you. The world needs your imagination more than ever. I have been predominantly a Black female leader of brilliant, ambitious men. So can you. You don't have to stay in a lane. I think we can see with where the world is right now that we need more women leaders, period. One of those countries that I got a chance to visit and work in was South Africa in the 1990s at the request of then President Nelson Mandela. We were building the first ever satellite radio platform, global platform. We launched 3 satellites to cover every country on Earth in the 90s. Our North American satellite is XM Radio, but that was the second satellite we launched. The first satellite we launched was over Africa and the Middle East because Nelson Mandela called us and said, we need that communications infrastructure to do truth and reconciliation. Now, what Dr. Walsh didn't mention is that at the age of 27, with micro braids down to the middle of my back, I raised, first round, $670 million to build and launch those satellites. It was, thank you. It was the most money ever raised for a startup, then and even now. Now the lesson to be learned in all of that is, don't let anyone tell you how to wear your hair. You thought it was the money, right? No, I told you this speech is for you. I would still have micro braids, but at some point you age out. I mean, my hips could not handle sitting for 16 hours. What other people say about you are just points of view, opinion. You are the truth. Now look, I'm not going to tell you it was an easy ride. It wasn't. I was treated horribly for being a woman, for being a Black person, many, 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 many years ago for being too young. I'm glad there's a 50 over 50 list to watch because I'm just getting started. One of the benefits of us not cracking, right? Most people still think I'm in my 30s anyway, even though I'm in my 50s. So I'm to go with that. I've been called the N word, the C word, the P word. I've been called the whole alphabet. Seriously. Ignore it. Keep your eyes focused on the prize. You're driving towards the life of your dream. Don't be looking out the window. You're gonna get in a crash, right? Fear, anxiety, and panic have all been my best friends. Your dreams are not free, ladies. Suffering is the price to pay. Patience, a virtue, and winning the best response. Know your power and use it. And also know that you can't do it alone. From that tiny, small place of me, you immediately put yourself in a box. One mind, one collection of resources, one pile of money. But from that powerful, powerful place of we, you, God, and your believers, it's not only all possible, it's doable, right? From being the first in your family to get your college degree, to starting companies, to changing or leading the free world. You are a billionaire with the we. Thousands of you in the Bennett community. Nearly 10 million in North Carolina. 300 million in the United States, 600 million in Latin America, 700 million in Europe, 1 billion in Africa, 4 billion in Asia, over 7 billion in the world. In the currency of faith and connection, you have billions in your bank account already, right here, today. I bring good news, worthy and wealthy. So here is the most important question you are going to ever ask yourself. How are you going to spend it? How are you going to spend faith? I pray that you spend it on your imagination. One believer can turn into a couple, many, millions, and there are billions of us in this world. Just take the first step by saying, with faith, I have a dream. I want to close also with a poem. I'm sure will be nothing close to what the esteemed poet laureate did earlier. My poem is called Hermione Rising. And yes, I mean Hermione Granger from Harry Potter. Now, people of a certain generation in this room thinking, why in the world is she bringing Hermione Granger to a graduation ceremony? I know my audience, right? I have aunts and cousins and mothers, I get it. I'll tell you why. Because Hermione in the story was called a muggle, and really, she was best in class. She was a sorceress for the ages. But even more importantly than that, a few years ago, J.K. Rowling wrote a play about the characters as adults. And can I tell you that Hermione grew up to be a black woman? The actress cast to play Hermione was a black woman, I want to say of West African British descent. Real black girl magic, right? So I'm going to close with my poem, Hermione Rising, which gives you a peek, because Dr. Walsh had told me that quite a few of you all are into entrepreneurship and innovation and invention. And so I'm going to let you see how I see the world. I think I'm going to have to move this just a little bit. I imagine a better way, something disruptive and innovative, used and revered, demanded and paid for, something transformative. Imagination, why do we deny it and discount it? It's the source of all innovation. Einstein was theoretical, not applied. Da Vinci, an artist and a scientist. George Washington Carver said, no vision, no hope. And Harriet, well, Harriet had to have imagined freedom before she took the first step. I have a dream of traveling space, of curing cancer, of running for office, of peace, unity, equality, and equity. You get what I'm saying? It's not about the how, it's about the why, the sense of purpose. No need to teach imagination, just endorse it. And with grace, give space for it. It's not to be packed away, it should be on display in schools and offices and churches, right? A priority among the others. Serious vote for tinkering and sketching and making and for play. Forcing memorization of someone else's prior imagination is not the way. The recipe gives space to extend and expand a concept through empathy and understanding, through diversity and collaboration, an embrace for imagination in the case of them all. The more minds that imagine together, the more imagination and invention blossoms. The more diverse these minds, the taller it grows. And if it's fueled by love and understanding, it thrives and soars. We are 7 billion strong, sisters and a couple of brothers. We can do anything unless we fight each other. Go human or go home. My Bennett Bells, you are our future game changers. Your place is at the top of the class. Take out your wand. I told you I was a geek. and cast the spell of I want that. It's going to be messy. Turning your imagination into reality is always going to be messy. Practice, rehearse, experiment, try, screw up, and then immediately rise up. Wield the magic of hope and faith, and know that the world may attack your genius now, but love you for it later. Hermione is rising, and her power is limitless, and so is yours, Bennett Bells. I pray that you too will use it for the greater good. We all believe in you. God believes in you. Please always believe in yourself. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you can feel that I gave my full self to this moment. It was actually easier for me to commit it to memory than to read it on paper because I have a visual brain. I also, before I leave, want to give a gift to the school. This is a cherry blossom tree to mark this moment. I brought it from DC, and I promise you this is God. I bought it at the MLK Memorial. Dr. Wall.